Money has a very specific number. Your phone battery has an exact percentage. Your calendar tracks exactly how many meetings you have left in the day. But unlike a schedule, we have absolutely no exact metric for the amount of time left in our actual lives. Take Daniel, a 32-year-old software engineer from Seattle. Working remotely for a booming tech company, his office is wherever he opens his laptop. He spends his weeks jumping between luxury Airbnbs, mountain cabins, and perfect sunsets. To his online network, he is living the ultimate dream. Every photo he posts brings in a fresh wave of likes and envious comments. Yet every night, when the screen finally goes dark, Daniel feels a hollow, recurring exhaustion that no amount of sleep seems to fix. He has achieved maximum synchronization with every server on the coast, but he has lost the ability to sit still the moment the power goes out. Looking for another scenic backdrop for his remote work and content creation, he rents a small, secluded cabin deep in the Colorado Rockies for a week. One afternoon while hiking, he discovers an old off-grid retreat hidden in the pines. Sitting outside is a local known as the Wise Hermit. Daniel walks up and asks a simple question: "Do you happen to have Wi-Fi here?" The old man just smiles and says no. Seeing Daniel's frustration, the hermit offers an alternative. He leads him through the quiet forest to an enormous ancient oak. He calls it the Silent Tree, promising a connection much stronger than anything transmitted by a satellite. The rules are incredibly strict. Daniel must sit at the base of this tree for exactly 30 minutes every day. No phone, no laptop, no smartwatch, no music, and absolutely no books. He is to sit and do absolutely nothing. When you are exhausted by a life that looks perfect on paper, diagnosing the problem requires you to shut off every single external transmission. The first morning is agonizing. Daniel frantically checks his empty pockets for a phone. He counts birds, he counts branches. Time dilates painfully, making those 30 minutes stretch on like 3 hours. This diagram represents what is happening in his brain. A neural network conditioned for continuous, rapid-fire dopamine cycles is suddenly starved of expected chemical inputs. It frantically searches for an alert that isn't coming. By the second day, those receptors stop hunting for digital stimuli. Instead, the brain starts processing subtle analog inputs. For the first time in months, Daniel notices the sharp smell of pine, the sound of wind moving through the leaves, and water flowing in the distance. What feels like unbearable boredom is actually a mechanical transition. It is just the uncomfortable friction of a highly stimulated nervous system stepping down to a natural baseline. On the third day, the external silence gives way to a deafening internal noise. Without notifications to distract him, old conversations resurface. Dreams he abandoned years ago reappear. He realizes he has spent years listening to the opinions of strangers while entirely ignoring his own internal voice. He asks the hermit if he can bring a book the next morning. The hermit refuses. Reading is simply a way to consume someone else's thoughts, to avoid being alone with your own. Silence acts as a mirror. It strips away the noise and leaves you alone with the memories and questions you've been avoiding for years. Over the fourth and fifth days, the agonizing stretch of time vanishes. 30 minutes extends to nearly an hour, and Daniel barely notices the passing minutes. The cognitive struggle is over. His mind has entered a state of deep recovery, finally catching up on years of unprocessed mental debt. This chart tracks that exact shift in cognitive stress. Notice how the jagged spikes of anxiety steadily flatten out into a smooth, rolling baseline. By day 6, Daniel's breathing naturally slows. All urgency to fix problems or upload content has vanished. Escaping the relentless urge to document and validate your reality is the final step in actually experiencing it. On the final morning, Daniel sits beneath the tree as the valley fills with golden light. He doesn't reach for his phone to capture the moment, and for the first time in years, the silence doesn't feel like a gap that needs to be filled. He returns to Seattle, to the exact same apartment, the exact same job, and the exact same responsibilities. But while everything around him is moving at a frantic pace, His internal baseline remains perfectly still. The people around him notice tangible changes. His coworkers see that he is visibly calmer. His friends notice his natural smile. He actually listens to conversations without breaking eye contact to check a screen. This shift proves that you don't have to leave the city to keep the mountain's peace. You just have to choose which signal you're going to listen to first. Daniel protects this peace with one strict habit. Every single morning, before checking a message, opening a laptop, or touching his phone, he sits for 20 uncompromised minutes of absolute silence. We are taught how to optimize our routers, boost our cell service, and connect to endless networks. But the most powerful, stabilizing signal a human can receive comes from silence.